All right. I'm going to give you my take on the world that we live in. It's going to be a lot of craziness, okay? I may not be right. I might not be wrong. I might be very close. I'm just going to give you insight to what I pick up on this reality and the way everything is playing out. Now, with that being said, imagine you live in a world that's like a computer, like a big game, okay, a matrix, kind of like when you're on the computer or you're on your PlayStation or Super Nintendo way back in the day. Everything is predetermined, but there's still a path to get there. Okay, it still has to play out. Just like in sports, politics, WWF, everything. Predetermined, but it still has to play out like a big game. It's a big show. Nothing different than a movie. All right? So, what's going down in politics right now is you have two sides. Let me put this stuff on silent. All right. You've got globalist and you've got nationalist. Okay, Biden represents the globalist. That's who has been in power. That's who controls the media because they've been in power for so many years. Republican, Democrat doesn't really matter. Okay. I believe that Trump is a nationalist. So the globalists have been in control. That goes back probably to the first Bush, which was Republican. Then it went to Clinton, Democrat. Then back to Bush, and then Obama. I think they were all globalist. Okay, they all created deals and joined partnerships with China and Iran and gave away money, and basically jobs left the U.S. and basically spread the wealth across the world, which comes down to market share. So remember the word market share because that's the biggest key here. When you spread the wealth across the world, all right, you're giving away your power, your wealth, because money is power. You're now making other countries stronger. You're making yourself weaker. But when they did those deals, at the same time, they lined their back pockets for the future, even if they aren't in power, okay, because they created those deals with those people. Now, if you have globalists that are in control of the biggest nation, and let's get this out of the way, none of the other countries can survive without the U.S. All of their labor, all their manufacturing, they rely on the U.S. to buy their goods. Without it, which is like right now during COVID, when you shut down the economy, they have inflation. And that's why our Dow is still way high, because they hedged against their economy since everything isn't being inflated, and they went into the dollar. Okay, so the dollar has been strong. Our Dow has been up. They've been pumping our Dow up. It's at all-time highs. Even China is getting into the dollar. Also, China, I had a call. China was actually putting restrictions on their own people getting into the dollar. Corporations that are there trying to convert their money over to the dollar, because what that does is that makes their country weaker. All right? That's why they had all those riots over there. Now, when you have nationalists, okay, this isn't just a Biden thing, okay? They could put whoever they want in there. Could be anybody. So for anybody, it's all like, oh, Biden, oh, I got a girl as a vice president. Oh, what you got is globalists that are basically trying to spread the wealth across the U.S., one world government, and what they want to do is get rid of the middle class, Okay? When you shut down the economy, who do you think it's hurting the most? And why do you think that I know COVID is real, but they use this to shut down the economy, okay? To hurt the nationalist president, Trump, okay? And to try to mess up the economy and still use their tactics to hurt the middle class. All the small businesses are the ones that are closing. Who are those people? That's the middle class, all right? When you get rid of the middle class, now you have lower class. So then you got elites and then you got lower class, right? And when everybody ends up being lower class, that's the globalist overall goal. They make you to where you rely on the government, all right? They put everybody on a level playing field. They're talking about a global reset, okay? And what they've always done is they've always went to war in order to basically fund both sides, make themselves stronger. It's a money-making operation. They make people weak. And then, of course, inflation. Everybody ends up being more people, less middle class, more lower class, which means more control. What Trump has done, he's completely opposite of globalist. He's a nationalist. And it's not just Trump. It's a group of people that fight amongst each other to try to gain control. All right? Nationalists have been in. So what have globalists been doing the past 4 years while Trump has been president? They've been trying to get him out. They've been trying to set themselves up for the globalists to try to take back over again. Now, how have they done that? You saw the attacks through the media. Now, when you are a globalist and you've been in control of the U.S. for all these years, and you did partnerships with China, and you basically sent all of your labor to other countries to get stuff cheaper and lined your back pockets, you spread the wealth, you've reduced your market share, all right? You've lost the power in the U.S., but you've spread the wealth among everybody. You still gain control, all right? Because everybody is weaker. More lower class, less middle class, more control. Going on a little tangent here and try to get back on track. So, the nationalists, when they got in, they are compromising their system. They're going to mess everything that they worked for up. So what have they done the past 4 years? They have been using the media to say, oh, bad guy, Trump. All right, everything is bad, doing everything they can to get him out. The dossier, Stormy Daniels, you just name it. It's about 1,000 different things over the past 4 years. It has nothing to do with Trump, okay? It's all about their system being attacked and basically going to get flipped upside down by the nationalists. Because what does the nationalists do? They want more market share. They want America first. They want every country to be their own independent nation. Then people have more pride. Then you can actually get more business within your country. That's why more companies were coming back. He's trying to put taxes and tariffs on other countries, so those companies have to come back to the U.S. What does more companies in the U.S. mean? It means higher wages, all right? What you got to realize, over the past 40 years, 60 years, we've doubled our workforce. We've had women join the workforce. We've had kids join the workforce, okay? And then we've had jobs leave the U.S. What does that do? More supply of people, okay? The same demand. You got more supply, what happens? Less money in your pocket, all right? At the same time, you're cutting out the middle class. Less people able to get ahead in life. More lower class. Oh. So here we are, yet the nationalists that got in there, they're messing up the globalist system the nationalists. I'm not going to say Trump because Trump is a trigger word for all you crazy people that watch the news. I know you probably don't like to be called crazy either, but you're brainwashed. You should just cut out the news, because all news, think about this, if you just cut off the news and didn't even know who the president was, you didn't even hear anything about it, if you realize my entire life, nothing has changed. Not one thing. All right? No matter what president was in. And I don't vote. All right? But I'm not a knucklehead. I see what the heck's going on. With that being said, everything is still a big show. But the nationalists got in there. The globalists used all their resources to attack him. The CIA, the FBI, the media, whatever. They've tried to do anything they can to get rid of the nationalists, setting up for this election. All right. At the same time, I think the nationalists knew what was going to happen. They've used it against them. Trump and the nationalists have not been able to. All their tactics didn't work, including this election, which is, I'm going to see what's going to play out here, because I think what's happening, this right here is no different than the impeachment tactics, than all the attacks for the last 4 years is trying to get the nationalists out, because it's messing up their system. All right? Everything that they've worked for, just turning it upside down. And they're making them out to be the bad guy with the news. They've suppressed the news. There's all kinds of algorithms on Google and Facebook that the stuff doesn't even pop up. You can't even write the word Trump without it being suppressed on Facebook. I have to put a dash in there. I noticed it because I'll do a post and then I've got to put a dash in there, and then I see people see it. All right? So what's going to happen next? All right? I don't really know, but I do not think that Trump is going to leave office. If you got a group of nationalists that have seen basically a takeover of the U.S., all right, and you finally got in, which I think they did some kind of military coup to actually get in. That's probably how they beat Hillary, okay? I think they got in, and I don't think they're going to leave. All right? If they have to declare martial law, they're going to declare martial law. If they have to go to war with China, they're going to go to war with China. But if they do, it's probably going to be in Iraq, and it's going to be against China and Iran. Iran has infiltrated Iraq. Okay? Iraq is almost Iran. Now, what does it all come back to? It all comes back to market share. All right? So these nationalists want market share. Money is power. That's how you control the world. That's how you maintain control. There's all kinds of meetings throughout the throughout the world. All these world leaders get together, and there's not just one side. Okay, there's 2 or 3 sides that are constantly battling to maintain control. Once you control the U.S., you control the world. We're kind of like the bouncer or the military for the world. And it's not just us being the bad guy. All these world leaders have voted for us to be that person. Now, troops have been pulled out of the Middle East. And I think that's all been done behind the scenes. And you haven't seen that on the news. So I don't know if they're getting ready to go into war, okay? If that's the case, I think it's going to be a Biden thing, okay? Because that's what globalists like to do. They create wars. If you haven't noticed, every president we've had a war. With Trump, we didn't have a war. What did everybody say on the news when Trump became president? Oh, we're going to go to war with North Korea. Oh, we're going to have a war with Iran. There's been no war. Now, in this situation, I think everything's going to get flipped upside down with the courts. I think that's why Trump has been working with trying to replace all those judges so everything is in their favor. And this is not a Democrat-Republican thing, okay? There is no such thing in this, because those globalists were Democrats and Republicans. Clinton, Bush, Obama, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican. You've been being played, okay? Trump used to be a Democrat, and now he ran as Republican. All right, he just had to go opposite of what was going on. He even said back in the day, "Oh, I think I would probably run as a Republican." All right, and just the way the world works, if you think about it, Democrat, Republican, blue and red. What do they talk about in the Matrix? Take the red pill and stay asleep. Take the red pill. Did I say take the blue pill, stay asleep? Take the red pill and be awoke to what's really going on. All right? If you look at boxing, you always have a red corner and you got a blue corner. They even create the gangs like this. You got the Bloods and the Crips, the East and the West. All right? They do the same thing with sports. They do the same thing with Super Bowls. You look at it, they've always got red and blue teams. It's always about the opposite sides. And if you look up some of Mike Tyson's stuff, he's actually said boxing is corrupt. There's powers that be behind it. You can't even get a real boxing match because it's so corrupt. All right? It's no different than in anything. Now, so when you're acting like you're all prideful about Trump or Biden or Harris, and you feel like, oh my God, I need somebody that's a good role model in the presidency, which you got to realize these people are just puppets that are a front for a globalist and a nationalist. All right? If you're a globalist, you basically want to get closer to communism. You don't care about your quality of life. You don't care about your freedom. We're all basically going to end up like Kuwait, all right? You collect a check from the government, and all you have to do is report that you're working somewhere, whether you're a doctor or you work at Starbucks, okay? Probably more than likely be paid the same amount. So they'll probably just give you the ability to say whatever job you want. That I think a globalist future would end up coming down to where you would be given the opportunity to be whatever you want. Okay? You want to be a doctor, you can be a doctor, but more than likely, you're going to get paid the same amount as somebody that works at Starbucks. Why should your labor be worth any more than someone else's? All right? In a nationalist system, it's more about individuality. It's more about country. Okay? And that's what we're actually moving away from. That's why people are complaining about minimum wage, because it's getting closer and closer to being everything middle class. I mean, lower class, no middle class. All right? And people aren't even able to survive. Everybody's living from paycheck to paycheck. Right? When you got more companies and you got more labor in the U.S., that naturally will drive up the demand, okay? Because you're going to have less supply because you got more jobs. And they need to fill those jobs, so they're going to be offering more money. All right? So anybody that's going to a globalist and backing a globalist system, you should never, ever complain about your paycheck. You should never tell your kids, oh, you can be whatever you want to be to get ahead in life. You should never be worrying about an American dream anymore, because that will eventually lead to a communist society. It's already been done. That's what's going down right now. What I think is going to happen, I'm going to say more or less what I hope is going to happen. The courts turn over the decision. Trump stays in power. A few riots here and there. The nationalists stay in power. And we continue to go throughout what we've been going through. Now, all that hoorah about we're going to drain the swamp. Well, the swamp hasn't been drained yet. Why would all that be done, all right, without it coming to fruition. So I think that's going to come to fruition. I'm hoping it comes to fruition. That would be a fun show, watching people actually pay for the bad things that they've done. Now, has that ever really happened? I know, like with Hillary, they said, lock her up. Lock her up. Now, I know everybody out there thinks, oh, Hillary has, people have just mysteriously died and all kinds of stuff. All right? Did you ever personally have an encounter with that? No. Do you see that on TV? Yes. Could it be just a movie that they're showing us to play with our emotions and then see that nobody ever has to pay for a crime? Possibly. Could they play that out and then now say, you know what? We're going to start arresting all these people. We're going to drain the swamp, okay? And instead of a divided America, we become a united America. And it would be a great story. But in a Biden system, okay, globalist system, it's going to be no different than what we've already been living under. Okay, more than likely, we will inevitably go to war. All right. Despite any of that, I also think what's going to happen is they have to inject money into our economy. People are broke. We're on a bubble. Everybody's broke. They've said that Iraq was going to pay for that war. So, how are they going to do that? I think that they're actually going to revalue the Iraq dinar, which would make millionaires overnight in America. I also think that digital currency could possibly make millionaires overnight. What does that do? It injects stimulus, making millionaires, like millions of people would be millionaires overnight if they revalue digital assets. What also would that do? Well, we currently have like a filing system for money, for financial transactions. Yes, a filing system where you take $1 and you have to give somebody $1. That's no different than a filing system. What have we been doing for years now? We've been using our phones. I know they've been using more electronic emails, which is smarter, sending a letter to someone or sending an email. Which one's faster? Which one's more efficient? Which one's cheaper? Okay, can you imagine how much cost is there from having to take a letter and give it to somebody? Now they have to take it all the way to Arkansas or across the world. It's the same thing with money. They've already said it is faster to get a suitcase full of money, get on a plane, take it over to another country, and give it to the person than actually try to send it. And that costs money. That's why MoneyGram and all those other different places where people will work here and they'll send money back to their family, they always want 10% because it costs money for this filing system. All right. So now when we go digital and everything goes digital, which most things are already digital, including menus at restaurants are digital. If you just take a temperature, okay, you get a number, digital. Everything is numbers. It's all energy. It's all... Got a phone call there. I don't know if you heard me. Everything can be transferred through a little wire. Digital. Even if you take a picture of me right now. Digital. So why would our currency not be digital? They've been getting ready for this. Okay? Our voting system. There is nobody in this world that actually think, well, there is, because y'all are brainwashed. All right, you got a guy that couldn't even get people to his speeches, and you think he got more than 10 or 20% of the popular vote? There is no way in this world, under anyone's actual reality, that they would actually put money that Biden would beat Trump in any kind of vote. Maybe for being the dumbest or the most likely to die first. But not in my reality, all right? And I didn't vote because I don't think the voting system is actually real. Let's get this filing system, give everybody a piece of paper. I don't care where it is. I don't care if it's in the mail or at the voting booth, all right? And then on top of that, let's put it through an electronic system and have them count some of these rather than actual people that are counting the other ones. And then you know what? We'll tell you the winner at the end. That's setting up a system to be able to manipulate and dupe and come up with whatever answer they want. Okay? I actually have an aunt that works for a small county in Michigan that after the last election, they had them take every single ballot, do a scan of it, and send it to Washington. And they had to go back and recount every single vote. She hated it, okay? But when she got to the end, you know what she found out? There were votes that were unaccounted for. And it was all liberal. Every single one of them. So you think that didn't happen in millions of counties? Hundreds, thousands of counties? That was the last election, okay? Now, with that still being said, it's all a big show. No matter what they got on those ballots, somebody who puts it all together is really in control. And who ends up posting it? How do we find out? Through the media, which is also corrupt. Okay, and if that media is controlled by a certain group, the globalists who've been in control, they've got their hands in everything. Okay? Can you imagine trying to get past all of that control? That's what's been going down. That's what Trump and the nationalists are doing. That's my take on what's really going down. And I know I've probably missed a lot of what's going down and I haven't connected some of the dots for you. But that's about the simplest version I can give you in 27, 28 minutes. Hope you have a good day.